Okay, so you got a new espresso machine and the espresso tastes like crap. Why? You spent all this money. Why is it even worse than the instant coffee your nan uses? This will be a bitter pill to swallow, but it's probably you. Now before you click off, I was in exactly the same position just a few years ago when I got into espresso, and this stuff is hard. But by the end of this video, you'll know everything you need to make espresso that's better than almost every cafe. So for starters, drop your setup in the comments below. I'm curious to know what people get for their first machines, because I had this, a DeLonghi EC155 as my first machine. No wonder I couldn't get good espresso. This is because the only thing your espresso machine really needs in order for you to get great espresso at home is a real portafilter basket. This is what I'm talking about. By real, I mean it needs to not be what's called a pressurized portafilter basket, which is the kind included in my old DeLonghi machine to make it possible to pull shots with stale and or pre-ground coffee. They create a flow bottleneck that increases the pressure and makes it a lot easier to brew what looks like espresso, but ends up tasting very watery and flat. Espresso is tricky because there's a small margin of error. Don't worry if your coffee tastes bad while you're getting good at this. It takes a few tries sometimes, even for seasoned pros with top-end equipment. I keep a journal of all the coffee settings I'll go through in this video to make it faster to get good espresso, and I'll leave a link for this in the description. Of course, the more you spend on the espresso machine, the better the coffee you'll get, but you'll get diminishing returns pretty quickly. The real hero here is the grinder, so this is a much more important purchase than the espresso machine itself. I'd always prefer a great grinder with a crap espresso machine than the other way around. This is because the size and shape of the coffee grinds is the #1 thing that determines how water flows through it. I've got a mid-tier grinder comparison video coming out soon, but for now, for a starter setup, I'd recommend a Turin grinder like the DF54 or 64 Gen 2, depending on your budget, but there are tons of reviews of grinders on my channel and others, so I won't go into that in this video. The next most common mistake is usually the coffee beans. People often buy cheap or stale coffee and wonder why it doesn't make good espresso, and I had this problem for the longest time. When I started making espresso, I was told the coffee had to be freshly roasted, so I got it from a spot near my place, but the coffee was too fresh, so I'd get this espresso that looked thick and juicy, but tasted roasty and bitter. Now for this part of the video, I have to apologize that I can't really tell you where to buy good coffee. I have my favorite roasters in the UK, and I'll drop some of these in the description, but ideally you want to find a local roastery that sells coffee that's somewhere around a week to 2 weeks off the roast date, and always check the roasted on date on the back of the bag. Coffee should be somewhere between 10 days and 30 days off the roast to be ideal for espresso, but different beans and processes might be different, so this is just a guideline. Try different origins, see what makes your taste buds sing. I love Colombian and Ethiopian coffees. Colombia just has so much variety, so you get a lot of different unique flavors, and Ethiopia has a lot of juicy, fruity coffees that are just amazing. There's a lot of buzz right now about fermentations and other stuff, but for espresso, I've always loved a good natural process. Now, between grinding your coffee and putting your portafilter in the espresso machine, you've got an important step: puck prep. The main goal here is to make sure that the espresso puck, all those coffee grinds in your portafilter, is evenly distributed and compressed. Water under pressure will find the easiest way out, so if there's a dimple or even just a different level of density in your espresso puck at one point, the water will go through there and just not extract most of your coffee. There are a lot of tools that can help you with this, but I'll just tell you the ones that I think are the best and the cheapest first, and then some of the advanced tools after. All you really need to get a great espresso is a Weiss distribution tool, or WDT, like this one, a dosing funnel, your palm, and a tamp. The workflow is simple. Get your coffee grinds in your portafilter, put your dosing ring on top to stop the grinds from falling out, as this can make quite a mess, then rotate your WDT tool in a circle to distribute the grinds. Don't just do this superficially on the top, as then you'll still probably have uneven density pockets beneath where the water will more easily get through. Start from the bottom, rotate it around while moving up, then tap your portafilter down on the table to level it after. This should leave you with a pretty much perfect surface to compress with your tamp. If it's a bit unbalanced, you can WDT a bit more, but I find that overdoing it can cause the fine grinds to migrate to the bottom of the basket, so don't do too much on this part. There are also more automated rotary WDT tools that reduce the manualness of this step, like this Time More one that I got recently, as well as distribution tools which are supposed to help distribute the coffee better than your palm does. But really, the most important thing is to be level, which a WDT and tamp can do without too much excitement. dispense. If you want nice tools that speed this up, I'll leave links to the ones that I have in the description. To compress the puck, I like to use a heavy-duty tamp, and if you're a beginner, it can really help to have one with a leveling ring to make sure that when you tamp, the surface is completely flat. You also want your portafilter to be flat to any surface it's on, so getting a portafilter holder, if yours has spouts, or using a tamping mat is really handy. So now you've made an espresso shot, the most important skill you need is to learn to adjust your settings to make it taste better, otherwise known as dialing in. The main thing you'll control to do this is the grind size. There are tons of other variables, but I want to focus on this one in this video because if you get this right, you're 80% of the way towards getting a great espresso at home. In the most basic form, if the coffee is coming out too quickly, you need to grind finer, and if it's coming out too slowly or not at all, you need to grind coarser. But how fast is too fast and how slow is too slow? Here's what a normal espresso should look like. For advanced baristas, this isn't necessarily the goal. There are lots of ways to brew an espresso, but for getting your basic shots right, this is exactly what you want. To get there a lot faster and with fewer mistakes, I used the Brew Ledger, a book I designed to help keep track of espresso shot settings. I switch beans a lot, so this helps me to switch back to a different coffee without wasting a single shot. It also makes it super clear what I need to do to adjust. If the coffee's coming out like this, then it's coming out too fast and doesn't have enough contact time with the coffee to get all that flavor out. Like pulling a tea bag out of your cup of tea too quickly, it will just taste weak and nothingy. If you see drips like this, it's too slow and will over-extract those coffee flavors, pulling out more bitterness too, which is not nice. Every coffee is different, so while the standard shot is supposed to be around 25 or 30 seconds, really it's going to depend completely on taste. So if you start with 18 grams, aim for 36 grams out at first. Some espressos taste better as a long shot, so more espresso out than this ratio, and especially with milky drinks, sometimes it's better to have a shorter shot, so less espresso out. These are all things you can adjust based on taste, so it's going to be really important to train your taste buds to figure out the difference between bitter and sour, and then what you actually like yourself. You may like rich, full-bodied, dark Italian-style espressos, and that's totally up to you. Go figure out your own favorites, and don't let any coffee snobs like me tell you how to enjoy your coffee. If you found this video useful, you can support my channel by getting a copy of the Brew Ledger, which will make it much easier for you to dial in your espresso and switch between beans without wasting any of your precious coffee. There are links in the description to everything I talked about, and thank you so much for watching, you wonderfully over-caffeinated people, and I'll see you on the next one.